Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on SortTables, which is a data analysis tool that I developed about 3 years ago, and we're updating it. And what we've been doing lately is taking a new approach to specifying the tables that you want to use and how they're joined up. And we haven't yet made that new approach work all the way. It works fine for selecting, but nobody uses the results of that. So we want to make a move towards doing that. Before I forget, I got to be off tomorrow, so unfortunately we won't have our session, and we'll be back Monday, which is the first Monday in December. I think that's the 4th. At any rate, Monday 2 to 4:30 p.m. as usual Eastern Time, and 7 to 9:30 p.m. All right, I'll try and remind us again some other time through the session. Okay, let's go over to the IDE. I'll just kick this off. I played a little bit. I saw John Reed's video on setting up the test system to try and speed it up a little. I tried turning parallel on and off. I had it off already, so that was fine. Didn't really help anything. I don't know if at some point it might become worth it. But yeah, I kind of don't see it at this point now. I didn't do the Yeet D thing. I didn't try that. I probably should, because I seem to be paying some startup costs here. Although this is the first time I ran it today. So we'll see. And then let's see what else. There was some app startup stuff. You can create a new startup app. I did not do that. I don't know that I haven't decided if I want to mess with it. Unfortunately, I've got this mix of Swift UI and UIKit, and I'm not as clear on how to do it for UIKit. Or whether it's worth it that much. I don't know. I mean, apparently 0.554 seconds that takes, 7 seconds to run or whatever. We'll see. I'll do it one more time just for checking. Okay, whoops. How about I do it in the IDE? Ten seconds. And some of that is because I'm doing actual database tests that are a little on the slow side, going out to disk for it. Yeah, so we'll manage with that, I guess. All right. So what are we going to do? Well, create the DatabaseView model and plug it into database config memento. See if I can find these classes. I don't need that. Is that this one? No. Database view. Okay, that's our top level view. Database configuration. No, I don't think so. Test. View model, is that the one? Yeah, okay. Right, so here's database config memento. It's got a format field. It's got a database name, which we know in our new regimen because we select it. We have the table names. The effective ones, I forget, one of them is the renamed one and one's the real one, but in either way, we have both those because they're going to be the same for now. We're not going to do renames. I will take it out at some point. It's kind of on the list, I hope. I don't think you need it, but okay. Remove renaming of tables. I do think you need or want renaming of fields, but that's a separate thing. All right, selected columns. I believe these correspond in order to the selected table names. And then joins, for now we can start with none and work on, well, we could probably find a way to make it work. Let's see. Hey, Tux96. Yeah, I guess you'd say I'm an iOS developer. I've been using it for about 3-4 years, and I was a Next Step developer back when. So, some familiarity with that stuff. But I'm not doing this as a paid developer, and just doing it for my own my own learning, I guess you'd say. I do have a couple apps that I've developed that probably could be put in the store. One was briefly supporting a nonprofit, and that went bust, I guess you'd say. But yeah, maybe I should start pushing some of these out there. Make my $7 or whatever I'll get. All right, and let's see. I lost. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Swift's a moderately big language, but it mostly hangs together pretty well. So, how about you? Are you a iOS developer or other? All right, so I'm gonna keep moving while we discuss. So we got this memento. If I can somehow create the memento, this init can use it, and then it structures itself according to that memento. So somehow we should be able to get this hanging together. Now, I'm not sure where this call is done, because this is probably the usage now. In DatabaseView, interesting. That's the preview. Okay, no problem there. Tests. Here's the real one. TableView controller. Okay, so this variable gets set. Now, I don't know how we get it updated. Let's see. References to this. Java Spring Boot or iOS native. I don't know how you decide on that. I've done a fair bit of Java and a bit of Spring Boot. I mean, that seems to be the pretty common in the corporate zone at this point. I don't know what the iOS world is like on doing the front end on there. I guess some is going to depend. I mean, you tend to do more front to back on the iOS world, I think. Lots of teams have smaller teams, whereas the Spring Boot teams I've seen have all been pretty fair sized, and a little more specialized. So there might be somebody doing the front end and somebody doing the back end, and different specialties. I don't know. I mean, it's all tolerable. What I remember most from Spring Boot is, like, when you have to debug something, there's 1,000 layers of call stack between you and anything. There's plenty in here too, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure I can give advice on this. Yeah, most things, it's just like you plug it through and it's okay. I mean, I'd say I enjoy Swift more because I'm doing this on my for my own fun, and I'm picking Swift and not Java. I think about 3 years I've been doing Twitch now. I maybe did one Java project in there, and most of the rest Swift and some Elm. Yeah, I mean, Java's easier to learn as a language, although it's grown quite a bit in the last few years as well. I think it's a smaller language at its heart, maybe. But I don't know, maybe not anymore. There's quite a bit of stuff in there. I mean, actually, if I had to choose between Java and something, I would take Kotlin. I worked with a team doing Kotlin, rather than Java development. It's all very compatible. Kotlin's built on the Java libraries and stuff. So, I found Kotlin a much, much nicer language. It just kind of, I feel like it's everything Java could have been, if they had kind of learned their own lessons back when or something, I mean, Java's, I don't know, when was it, 96 or 94 or something when it first started, so it's pushing 30 years, and over that time it evolves. They've been through at least 2 user interface toolkits, and they added generics and all that stuff. So it has some compromises to handle those structures, where Kotlin was designed from scratch a few years ago, and much cleaner. But yeah, that's me. I don't know. I did a fair bit of consulting, and there you just you take whatever language they've got going. It's very rare to get to choose or even advise on the language they're going to use. So, all right, let's see. I'm going to get focused here. All right, so database view model. Okay, here's this one. Open database configuration. Okay, so when you bring one in, now there should be a configuration. Let's see if I can recall what we did yesterday to get there. I added another configured database that we were planning to modify. This second one being the new approach. And right now it does this. Perform segue. It goes to that other thing. Let's find the other one, which is the open configuration. Open file. No. URL. Let's see. Open database. Yeah, this one goes to open database configuration. All right. It goes to open database. Now, I think to get to the segue, we have to. Yeah, I don't know. You're always got to make kind of these compromises on that, I think several years ago, there were a lot fewer apps out there, and it was maybe easier to be an iOS developer. There's still plenty of teams doing it, so I don't know that it's less than it was, but it's less open in some ways. But yeah, you just jump in. It's not like you're going to be in the same language for the next 50 years, right? Whatever you choose, you're going to learn something and then move on to something else and learn that is really the way it's always worked for me anyway. I don't know. I sat down one time and just listed out how many languages I programmed in professionally or for fun, and it's this huge list of things and languages that never show up now. Bliss. Okay. Just have to keep learning and growing, unfortunately or fortunately. I mean, I enjoy it, so it's been good. All right, let me find my main launch screen, main storyboard. Okay, and I'm looking for the segue. Let's hide this. Oh, here, open database controller. Okay. And then where's the segue? I don't know if open database configuration, this one. Okay. Yeah, we kind of want to modify this screen, but this segue should be the one that counts. Open database controller. Now, how do we get to this segue? Come on. All right, there's open database control config. He must be a UIKit thing too then, because he's not a hosting controller. Oh, segue actions, open database controller. Segue open database controller. Here's the view. Okay, yeah, this is old style. All right. Well, let's go back here. All right, well, what I want to do, let's see if I can just make this happen. So here's configure database 1 and 2. I'm being lazy to not put a new title in. Open database Swift UI. Okay. Segues to configure DB. Let's go back there. This one, open database view. So in the end, that calls open database view. Open database view. Okay. Database config controller. Root view database. This database view model. Completion open database. Database view model. I'm sorry, I'm being dense. Let's see. So, open database view, wherever that got off to. Ends up calling open database. Okay, open database view. So with that, at the end, I think somehow we want to reset the database view model just like that other one did. Open database configuration. Yeah, it does this. Database configuration open. This is getting it from file. We need to get it from a database view. I don't know how we get it back. I guess we have to pass it in. Database view, its model, and then its result can be the config. All right, let's get database view in this. All right, so what I'm saying is database view excuse me. So I've got this form. Right now you just click away and everything's good. I really feel like it should be a button, but I'm not enforcing it there. So let's put a button in. All right. So we've got picker. Okay. So this is no database, or we have a database, and if we have tables, we're going to do all that stuff. All right, now is this, if we have tables, if we don't have tables, we can't configure it. Okay, so let's put a button in. Whoops. Ooh. Well, I'm going to do something different, but okay. So I'm going to have some other action, put my rare TBD in here, and then this, I think, yeah, I think that would be more of a normal thing. So we wouldn't change anything if they click outside. Now I'm not sure. I don't know. There's a little interaction between the old table method and the new one, but what I'm thinking is this, the text is just like open. And or open database, maybe. That's a little more specific. Okay, so let's find our, here, we don't need this anymore. Oh, interesting. Did it complain? Or have I got too much? This is probably extraneous. Okay, I need to find my strings, localizable strings, DatabaseView. Okay, and we'll use this string in here. All right, and then let's just put a print for the moment. Open DB button. All right. And I think in the long run, the open is going to be the only thing that changes things. We'll see. It's a theory. All right, so we're going to do the second one, create database configuration. Actually, it doesn't matter. Okay, we have open database. I don't know if that's a little weird, but okay. And then this should do our print. Yay. Okay. Got something right here anyway. All right. So what I'm thinking is there's going to be another observed object. I think it's going to be an optional config. So he's going to have a variable that does it. Okay. Yeah. So I think that will be an optional config. If you execute the save database, we'll take the changes we did on our new table form. I don't know. Database has model. Sorry, where's our state? Oh no, that's view model. Where's our selection? Selected? What do we call that? Or is that on database view model? No. It should have been on our tables. Selected. Not select statement. Database view, many tables view. Observed active tables. No, that's not the right view. AllTablesView. Observed object database view model. How? No. Table selection. Yeah. Now, where is that in our view? There it is. OneTableView. State table selection. Oh, okay, yeah, this has to be coming back too. OneTableView. So where's AllTablesView? He must have an array of these, right? No. Table metadata. Selection. Oh, I'm getting myself tangled. Should the button switch database clicking outside? Should the open button be at the top and sticky? Yeah. So you just take what you have. Okay. Let's make that a future change. Move open database button permanently. Well, sticky at top. Okay. Make. Okay, so database view. It's like the pieces are almost there. Each one has its own state, which is good. But I don't think there's an object that has all the states. I thought we had something somewhere, but OneTableView gets one table selection that manages the ons and off for the table or the fields. And then AllTablesView, and that's state to here, right? So it's not coming in. We're deriving it from the table view model. Okay. And I'm terrible at when you get these arrays of stuffs, I just don't quite get how the interconnection works on the UI side. I don't know. I've made it work, but I've never quite believed it or something. All right. So I guess I got to work from the bottom or the top. Let's try from the top. All right. So somebody comes in, they open up this thing, and I think they're going to have to pass me well, the database view model is the source of the metadata for all these tables. Okay, so given those, I could make a table selection array. I think. Let me just check who's using this. If there's somebody using an array, maybe they're a bit of a model for us. Okay, that's a test. Selectable button wants one. Right. And that's the init. Okay, so right now it's just state. So what I guess I'm saying is there should be state table selection is an array of table selection. Is that right? No, I think it's just a 1D array. Okay, so we got a list of all the tables that you can select, and that's going to correspond to that. All right, and then can I start empty? I may regret this, but okay, so we'll start empty. And we're going to have to populate it at some point. Okay, so this thing knows the table selections, and then the button should do something with them. This is really do something with, well, I should say it this way. Convert table selections to a config memento, I think is where we're going. Selection is going to be saved with configuration. I don't think it needs to be. Because I think the config memento preserves the information we need to do that. Although I'm not sure. The thing is, we have something to write it, and we have something to open it, another command, but we don't have something to edit it. So this is a little funny that way. We don't have a way to open the database configuration. We can open the database. So there's kind of a gap. We can say open a particular configuration as a database, but we don't say open a configuration for editing. Yeah, it can be saved. So I think this is enough information to recover that when we get to that piece that is clearly missing functionality, because something you can create but not edit or delete is kind of it needs to aspire to CRUD. Okay. Then so I think this thing has the selections. It should be passed to the many tables view if that's the thing that's going to edit it, right? We'll make this state should be private. All right, so I'm going to say the all tables view, it should take the selection as well. Okay. Now, AllTablesView does not. Okay, it's got that, but it needs it needs binding var table selections of array of table selection. Okay. Now, it's got table metadata. And the way it is now, this thing gets created as part of this state, but we already have a table selection now, so this variable's not right. Okay, but I think there's no harm in where we are right now. It's kind of a partial. Apparently, there's a little bit of harm. AllTablesView. I guess this is binding. Oh, no, this is table selection. It's table selections. Right, so we're passing the binding to this in, which means it's probably $, right? Yep. Okay, so he has that. All tables then gets it. This is one table. Here's all tables. Gets that binding and sets it, and right now he's doing nothing. So nothing should break. Okay, so make DatabaseView own the list of table selections. Well, and pass it to AllTablesView. Okay. Why is that uncommitted? There we go. Okay. All right. So now AllTablesView has it. It's taking the list of table data. Well, we're saying OneTableView should get a binding to this. So let's make this binding. I'm not doing this very well, am I? So I need to match these two together? I'm going to use table selections to show the list of tables instead of the metadata. It's no, it doesn't change the display of the tables. Ooh, does it? Well, oh, it's based on the metadata, so it knows whether they're in or out. Okay, so I think it knows them. Well, let's look at that thing. Okay, he knows the selected columns, he knows the included table, he knows the database name, he does know the columns. Okay. Yeah, so he can answer that question. All right. So I think where I'm going off is when you go to display this view, I think these table selections need to be populated here. And so I want to do something like init all that stuff. All right. And then no, can I defer? They're empty at this point though. So I want to say let's see, are you going to use table selections to show the list of tables instead of metadata? Okay, so yeah, I think table selection shows it. Table selection knows the list of tables, so it can display it, and it also knows which ones are in, and so it can track that. Using the selection to know which tables are in or out. Oh, yeah. So this thing knows, it tracks this, and yeah, that's a public read, private set. So it tracks that information as well. All right, but I think the thing it doesn't do, and I don't know if I can do this. So what happens today? OneTableView, I think I just erased it. OneTableView has a binding to this, and it gets set here. I want this to go up a level. I think AllTablesView needs to do that. Table metadata comes in. Okay. And that's the table metadata. So, and this is kind of prime for improving. Okay, so I think if you take the database table, what's going on there? Table metadata selection for, that's the old, okay. I want to say it's going to be a map. Now, I feel like I'm going wrong somewhere here. Table metadata selection table. Whoops. Because if I create this, it's allowed to throw it away and recover it. So it has to be passed in. I think I have to have this when I get this. All right. So I don't think I need this. Somebody's got to do this mapping. All right. Go through the database map, that's giving you tables. So it's going to map each table to a table selection, but it definitely should not be done down here because it doesn't come in. We're trying to pass one in from all the way in UIKit side, and if we've mucked it up inside AllTablesView, I don't think that's going to be very helpful. Let's see, is that something done in here then? Not table selection, but table controller. Open database view. Let's go back to our actions. Okay, open database, configure database. That's this one. All right. See, can I change this? Sorry, distracting, but no. Okay. All right, so we come in from this. We say open Swift database Swift UI with DatabaseView model. But we've got this thing sitting around up here that we created, right? Somewhere. DatabaseView model. Oh, maybe I never did create the table selection. I don't know. It's really when that changes, we need to update that. Maybe, okay, let's get this straight. Action. I've lost my menu. Okay, there we go. Add action, configure database, configure database. I want this to do something different. I want this to be open database Swift UI. I think this is really, let's just call it configured database Swift UI for now. And let's go to open. And I'm going to put configure down here. Func configure database Swift UI. Okay, self-taught performed. Segue. Selection be inside the database view model. Yes. I guess I've resisted it in the sense that the database and its contents are kind of an independent thing of our user selection of which ones we want active. So in that sense, I feel like it's separable, that they sort of change at different times and all that, but maybe not. I don't know. Since we're saying it does have to conform to the DatabaseView model. Okay, let me go back to the storyboard. I don't even know how to do these anymore. This. Open. DatabaseView : okay. Well, I kind of want to do this. if I want to change these names. This is configure DatabaseView. Okay. Now, I'm never sure about this stuff. I think what I want to do is take this host and controller scene. I kind of want to duplicate this. Is there a duplicate? Yeah, is there an abstraction missing that contains both? Yeah, I don't know. Where would duplicate be? I hate it. Host and controller. All right, I'll turn this off. Okay, host and controller. Is there a way to duplicate this? I could have sworn there was. Editor. Should be here. Oh, I can just copy and paste maybe. Copy and paste. Well, that seems very suspicious. Oh, I've got to paste another one. Okay. Now I've done something 3 times. That and that are the same. Well, how do I have 3 of these? Okay, let me go back. Undo. Okay. Oh, copy, deselect, and paste. Good. Okay, now let's make sure this looks the same. Present modally table controller manual. That's fine. Present modally. Okay, this is table controller. Open database view. Okay, what's it? Option to drag. Control. Yeah. Oh. I think I want to do control. No. What are these again? First responder and exit. No, I want to create a segue. All right. So do I do that from here? Oh. Like I need to add this in there. Oh, anybody remember how you do this stuff? I thought it was like control click. And I thought I could do it from the table too. No. Data cell, first responder, exit, keep storyboard entry point. Can I duplicate this? Okay, this is the what is he called? Hosting controller. He's configure database controller. Is that going to work? Now, somehow, is it exit? No. It's not that thing, is it? Is it the view? Ugh. Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, maybe I've been option clicking. Yes. Okay. Gosh, stupid. All right. I think I go here. And this was present modally. Configure database. Well, that's not quite the same. Yeah, I keep clicking option. Present modally. We have to edit something in here. Present modally segue. Let's go to the segue itself. I don't think I'm on the storyboard segue. Present modally. Selector, I think I need to change. Wrong way. Table controller. Selector was Open Database Swift UI. Or is it this? Configure DB. With identifier configure DB. That identifier is definitely wrong. Okay, so modally his identifier. Let's see this one. Identifier Open Database. Identifier. Oh, this is configure DB. Okay, this identifier should be well, configure DB. I'll just spell it this time. Okay. And then I think this one, the selector, yeah, Open DatabaseView colon, and this should be configure DatabaseView colon, I think. Okay, let's take this string, get it back over here. So that should look the same. How can I make it different? Well, let's put a print in. Okay, configure database view. All right. Have I done this? Man, I've messed up this stuff so often. All right. So hosting this controller is going to be our new controller. And it looks like the symbol is the same. I think I've got everything identified. Do I have to do custom class? No, I just worry about this stuff. Configure DB, open database, present modally, same as destination. And then this one, configure database, present modally, configure database view. Okay. Now, I guess what I'm hoping for all this is, if we open up the second menu item, it should bring up the same looking screen, but print this configure database view. Okay. Oh boy. Cannot assign. Oh, I didn't finish all that stuff. Let's put this back to state. So we're not doing anything with the metadata yet, other than getting it. And table selections should come from here. It's state right now. Okay. So that's still all local to this thing. All right. Oops. Sorry. Let's try that again. They're cutting trees in the background. I hope it's not too obnoxious for you. All right. Second database configuration. And when it terminates, which right now is this, we should get a print. Okay. Where would our print be? Let's close this. Turn this on. Configure database view. Okay, so for all that, I think we've made progress, that we have a new view object coming in, and now we can treat it differently. Okay. Now, where's that database selection coming from? Well, I think table controller is going to own it. All right, just like it owns the view model, we're making the selection a top level thing. And this is table selection. Close. So it starts out empty. All right. And then, I don't know, when does this change? It wasn't a lot. I think we only saw one place. Gets initialized here. Well, I think when you go into our configure, you should calculate that. Okay, so let's find our handler. Configure database Swift UI. Segues into configure database, and that triggers the call of configure database view. All right, so now let's let table selections equals database view model dot active tables. Is that the right thing? I thought it was metadata. We did that in here on our one table. Table selection of metadata, table metadata. Where's that coming from? Database, table metadata. Yeah, we're definitely going too far for it. Okay, DatabaseView dot database dot metadata dot map. Okay, and then each one of these, whoops, yeah, we're going to convert just like we did here. Here being here, we're going to take the table selection of table metadata. Keep going for the wrong one. Okay, table selection of table metadata. And this is $0 really. All right, so we'll take our database view model, find the database, get the tables, and map them to a bunch of table selections. So we're mapping them in the order they're there. All right, result to database configuration initializer is unused. Really? Oh, we got to return it. Because now we're doing stuff in front of it. Okay. Let's see. So now, I think at this point we have the table selections, but our database view doesn't know them. Okay, and so it needs to get the selections. Table selections is table selections. Okay, and now this needs to take one at state. No, he needs to be, what does he need to be? I guess state, no. Binding is what corresponds. And so this becomes a colon. Okay, so he's going to do a binding to these. All right, that's all fine. And then this has to be a binding coming in. All right, so now the metadata, table metadata is $0. I feel like I've got to do some shenanigans here. I'm trying to pair up my table selections with my table metadata. Does table selection know the metadata? Yes. Okay. So I think we can do it that way. So let's take table selections dot meta, whoops, is it private? Okay, table selections id is name here, okay. And now the table view, the metadata is $0 dot metadata, and the selection, the table selection, table selection colon $0. Right, and OneTableView needs a binding to the table selection because it's a struct, and this should go away because we already created it. All right. Oh, so close. $? No. Table selection. Table metadata. Oh, wait, what? He took table metadata. The only thing he did with it was create the selection. Okay, so he doesn't need that at all. TableView initializer. I'm still cannot convert value of table selection to binding. And I don't even think he's optional at this point. Can I convert value table? Insert dollar. Yes, I can do that. Name. All right. Still got two reds. This one. Okay. I think I'll come back to that one. This one. Well, table selections equals, let's just make it empty. Okay, and then this view now needs table selections. Did it say that? Yeah, okay. State object requires observable object. State object. Oh, just state. No. DatabaseView initializer. Instance member dollar titles cannot be used. Making things worse. Well, let's go to DatabaseView initializer protection level. Right, binding is not private. Obviously, that's not good enough. Insert dollar. Okay, back where we were. Now what? Instance member dollar table selections cannot be used on type previews. Why not? Okay. I'm gonna punt this one. We're not using the preview right now anyway. But I care more about this selectable table button. He's given a real table selection now. And probably this one too, yeah. Okay, table selection. Table controller. Oh, what's the matter? To binding. I don't think I can just say $. No. What else is on? Database view model. Yes, he needs. And he's going to complain about the binding, right? Is that going to do it? No. Oh. All right. What is going to make those guys happy? It must be a binding. Well, I don't know if I can. Okay. The one we had before was passing. That's an observed object, so it's a class. This is more. Oops. This is more of a state object. It's a struct. All right. Maybe let's see if we can find somebody doing this. How do I pass a binding from UIKit to Swift UI? Okay, there's that. Cannot close it. Can't use any binding between a UI view controller and a view. But I have to assign it somewhere. Oh. Okay, let's try these other ones. Paul Hudson's is always good. Well, that's not so helpful after all. I think this is the article we were looking at yesterday. Use state variables and bindings. Okay, so the page view controller is a Swift UI. That is a binding. Okay, so we're looking for current page. I don't know where I am. Okay, declare the state variable in page view. Pass a binding to the property when creating view controller. UI view controller representative. Oh, so here's the binding here. Yeah, need objc somewhere. Okay. Remember to use the $ sign syntax. Back. Next. Step 2. I don't see a $ there, do you? Root view $0. Root view, is that current page? Well, $0 is not a dollar variable. Remember to use $ syntax to create a binding to a value that is stored as state. Go back, go forward. Okay. Create the current page binding. We did that. Add binding. Page is a view. Current page is an end. I guess this is in the UIKit side. UI view controller representable? Or is that the way you go from the other way around? Add a text view. That's our view. Okay, yeah, this is going the other way around from what we want. All right, let's try using a binding in UIKit. That's the one we're just looking at. There's your OBJC. There's no binding data at all. Right. Okay. Well, I guess that's the UIKit side. Let's go down this path. So let's make a binding of table selection. Binding of cannot be applied to operations of binding type. What if I say array? No. To array. All right, switch UI. Yeah, that's what I would expect here, which is what I was kind of trying to replicate. Result is a binding, so you do not need to rewrite binding. What? Binding var results. Exterior permitted. Binding var results. That part looks the same. Binding var text string. Binding var results of array. Text of text, results of results. List dollar results. Add an ID. Thing is, I can't say at binding here. I don't think. I don't think this one's going the way we want. Well, maybe there's more to learn about arrays. Binding switch by list elements. Maybe it's an array of bindings. Binding node, publish var notes. Right. I think array of bindable objects. Yeah, that's more what I'm saying. Object binding state. Child view. Projects. Yeah, it's got an old setup. Publish our projects equals that. Okay. And yet, observed. I don't think that's getting at my question. And I don't think this will be quite enough. Well, okay. Complete bind to binding in SwiftUI. Always disappointing when it's not so complete. Create custom bindings. Binding generically. All right, go back to this one. I'm using a binding UIKit. Passing a binding from a host controller. Okay, that's good. Question. May not be easy. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I still hold off on medium. UI view representable, that's going the other way, so that's not helping. View to view model binding in UIKit. Yeah. See any more? We're getting into Unity now. I think we're about as far as we're going to go. Okay, image. That's not going to do it. No, that's not going to help. All right. Let's see if we can do it this way. Binding of table selection like that. Cannot call a value of non-function type. Now is that? Yeah. Right. Okay. Protocol binding does not have a primary associated type that can be constrained. That looks really weird to me. Ambiguous. Golly. It's really more of a Swift question. Yeah, that's that generic one. But binding rate by passing it in bindable. Yeah. Right. But we don't want that. We share values and get the shared values to receive updates. Yes. Okay, that one's okay. What's up with now down here? Can I convert value to? Now they don't seem to have a problem with that type. Can I convert value? But I put the $sign in. They don't seem to find it. Well, I'm not feeling particularly brilliant at the moment about it. It seems like we're close to something, but I don't know what would do it. So let's take a break. We'll take 3 or 4 minutes and come back and see if we can figure out some combination of binding and $sign and no $sign that will work. All right, see you in a few minutes. All right, welcome back. Not making a lot of progress here, so I did another search and just looking again for some more stuff. So do create a state, pass it in using $sign, receive it as a binding. Yeah, I think that's the thing you can't do. Because state, I think is, well, I should try it and then spout off. I don't think you get to use state on the UIKit side. That's my bottom line. But I don't see a complaint there. Now can I put the $sign? Yeah. Okay. Well, that seems pretty darn good. Okay. Who's complaining? Extraneous. Yeah. Okay. That. Now let's take these off and see if we can make that go. State private var table selection, and then now it doesn't like that. Instance member cannot be used on database type preview. Oh, static. I have to read that more carefully. It's like instance member, you fool. It's not state. All right. Well, here we go. Was it in a different order? Okay. Now, all this, we're still not doing anything with it, I don't think. Oh, okay. I thought I was doing a run, but. Okay, we'll go to our second one. Okay, see, yeah. Yeah, I think only views are allowed to have state. Although nothing, it's a runtime error. That's really kind of annoying. Why? Well, let me go back to this. And then we tried, let's see, this complaint down here. It says, oh, new complaint. Binding of table selection. And same thing here. Okay, so what I take is we want this type to be binding of table selection. Is that? But it didn't like maybe searching for an actual error message will give us something more. Wow, I'm the first one to do this. Okay. I probably shouldn't put that in quotes if I've changed it. It effectively holds the protocol, so when you make a type conform, you must specify what that is. Can I do this? Why are you ambiguous? Does not have primary associated types to constrain. Can we go to binding? It seems wrong that it would be. Okay, this is a long one. Bindable of sendable where value is sendable. Bindable identifiable. Do I just need to be identifiable? Well, maybe I'm on the wrong track. I mean, they got all kinds of bindables. Bindable. Looks identifiable. Now we can just say bindable. That's not quite what I'm after. I should be searching for binding, not bindable. A property wrapper type can read and write a value owned by a source of truth. Yes. Two-way connection. Binding var pool. Body declares the property to hold the state using state. Yeah, that's not what we're doing. So this is binding a value, and I don't think value cares what it is. See, generic. Yeah. Okay, extension of binding with an optional base. Okay, yeah, this is where we're getting this. Binding of sequence where value is a mutable collection. Okay, that sounds kind of promising. Type alias element equals value.element. Value is a mutable collection. Yeah, so you can't really get a value back from the Swift UI side unless you pass in the thing that's going to hold it. And so that's what we did here. We created this database view model, but notice he's observable object and he's a class. So because he's a mutable object, I think things are different. But we had binding that could take observable objects, so I don't know. If what I wonder, I get mixed up between the levels, right? If TableSelection itself wasn't identifiable, would this binding work? Dollar gives you the projected value is the binding, and the name gives you the value. Where was that? Oh, it was in this. Okay, collection. Fancy collection. That doesn't help. Well, now he's being a collection. Let's see. A collection represents a sub-range of collections. Okay, so we have binding of type collection. Value is mutable collection. Is an array a mutable collection? Well, it looks like it is, right? There's an array. You can change it. Okay, so that's all right. Okay, but it's how do you bind to it? Public protocol. Whoops, go back. the 1200 matches. Public struct binding, wrap value, projected value. That's what I'm used to thinking about. Current state value. Okay, binding extends sequence where value is mutable collection. Binding. A type representing the sequence elements is a binding as well. Right, so if I declare something to be of type binding, can it valuables? Completion callback before was get the back. Okay, yeah. Binding. Well, I don't see that this would work. So if I take this out, binding equals that. Ambiguous for type. Oh, let me go back here a minute. So this sort table this was originally going to be part of PhD research that I never finished. But we did have a paper about it like 20 years ago. So it's an old wish of mine. All right. But it doesn't answer my question. Binding is ambiguous. I guess I would put Swift on there. I don't know if it's at binding versus regular binding. No. All right. Table selections of binding equals. Okay, let's try. Whoops. Create binding for array Swift. Binding to arrays in Swift. I'm not trying something like this. Use on appear to update. Binding bars, blank bar episodes. So what he's doing here is when the view appears, then the binding is all set. Binding bar characters. And then he feels like he can append values to this output array. Ugh. Okay. I don't think that's helpful for us. Switch drop conformance to collection. Extend random. No. Okay. Pass the binding of an array. Get a binding. What a mess. Okay. It's identifiable. It makes binding conform to identifiable. Well, that may be handy, but okay. So my thought is, what if I had an object that held a array of table selections? Then it's an observable object like DatabaseView model. Okay, I'm going to put it. Oh, where am I going to put it? It's got to be something this thing can see. I guess I'll put it in here for the minute. Okay, so let's make class. Let's call it database selection. Okay. Okay, so we'll create one of these objects. Now, nobody's happy to get one. Table selections is $database selection that. No $sign. Database selection and has table selection. Table selection. I think the S is probably right. Cannot convert. Okay, that's the callee. All right, table selections. We have two places that use this, I think. Table selections equals. Let's come back to that one. DatabaseView table selections is. Oh, what's the matter? Okay, not a binding. All right, now instead of a binding, I think that turns it into an observed object. I guess we want database selection. Okay. Now back to here. Yeah, that's going to be all messed up. Let's go back here and make sure this is coming together. So now this should be database selection. That I don't know yet. This is just database selection. Okay, that should become happier. All right, now this. Okay, that makes this side okay. All right, who's complaining? Database view. Okay. So now AllTablesView, I think he's going to get the database. Table selections. Model. Private set of our which is still empty. Okay. Oh, not quite. Can I convert via binding of table selection? Oh, he's got to be an observed. Observed? I lost my little notebook in the move. I got to find it again. Database selection. Observed. No, he's not observed object. He's observable. think that, no. No. State? No. I don't know why I'm blanking out here. Let's add is text. Can I choose? Binding state. Published. No. Well, what is this stupid thing? It's not state object. It's not. This was observable object. It's not observable object. So I've got a lot of things moved, but I don't have everything from my old office organized. Let's see, I guess we have it online. We can look there. All right, now. Observable object, published, observable object, state object. Oh, okay. Okay, let's build. Nope, somebody's not happy. Cannot convert value of $database selection of type observed object database selection wrapper to use text. Remove $sign. We've gone an awful long time without checking in. I just heard it ring 4 here. Now, I don't know if that really ran. 0, good. He's just starting slowly. Okay. All right, so we'll take that second to create database and open database. I mean, all we've done is get everything lined up. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's take our other configure, create, and unfortunately, he's still not very editable. We'll take out 2 fields, but I don't think it'll, yeah, it doesn't do that. Okay, and this seems the same. Okay, let's push this. So what we've done doesn't affect anything really. I mean, we've introduced extraneous data floating around that's not being written to. It's just being created. So in that sense, it's harmless, but it's been a lot of, let's work through it. Okay, so we introduced a database selection class. I think that's, yeah, and then we introduced configure database Swift UI. versus open database. And then we made the models, sorry, the views take the selection as well as the model. We introduced the new one, and it maps each thing to its table before it goes in. So theoretically, those table selections are sitting around, just not being used. Okay, then configure database Swift UI is our new thing. And that just delegates to it, but down, whoops. Database Swift UI, program segue. Oh, we have the method up here. Looking for my print. Oh, that's not the print I'm after. Okay, we'll go keep going. All right, then in DatabaseView, we turn this into observed object, which is the equivalent of binding. Coming in from the UIKit stuff, we passed around table selections as needed from the database selection. Don't need that anymore, it's just a binding. Simplified this because we have the list of stuff. Fixed the preview. Took the optional off there. It's no longer optional. It's always created. Okay. So we put a database selection, which is array of table selection, in place on the UIKit side as the top level object, then passed it across to the Swift UI side. All right. Okay. Stop this. Now, let's see our all table view model thing. There's one table. Here's all tables. Okay, so he gets the database view model and he gets a binding to the table selections. Then he goes through those things and does one view off each one. All right, and then that passes in to OneTableView. Is very similar to what it was originally. So I think these selections should be reflected in the interaction. All right. Table and columns is empty. Oh, test 2. Let's try test. Okay, something's not coming through. All right, let's stop in table controller. Here's our configure. Database selection. We take the database view model, convert it to table selections. Do we pass that in? We pass. Yeah, I guess that's okay. We pass this in. All right, database config controller. Can we stop here? Okay, here's our init. All right, so if we break here, we should be able to see the database view and look at its model and look at its database selection. Okay, I guess the alternative is, well, actually, let's break here. Okay, so we'll have taken database view model and gone through and remapped all the tables and assigned that to our table selections. All right, let's see this happen. Oh. Wait, what? Why is that empty? Let's see, make sure this is the first one. That is empty. So something we're passing in is not accurate. Let's see the second one. Did something blow up? Oh, we just stopped. Oh, okay, wait. That's test DB. Let's do test. Should be the same because we just copied it. That looks okay to me. What's going on? Okay, I know why the first one is empty. Oh, are you not running? Okay. Here's the first one. And that's filled in now. I don't know what happened. Here's the first one. Okay. Here's the second one. Okay. We can select and deselect. And there's our print configure database view. Here. Open DatabaseView model. Well, the thing we haven't done is copy back the database selection into Open Database. Although I'm a little confused how that's happening in the first place, but okay. I think we know it's getting here, so this is redundant. Let me run again just to see what's going on, if we can tell. Okay, I'm going to take the second one. He's test 2DB. Tables and columns is empty, oddly. Test 2, test. Okay, that just looks wrong to me. That should populate those tables like we saw. Okay, so I went away and I said, let's go to 1. And he's got the same problem. Let's go back to 2. And he's got everything. Okay, what's going on? That's a complaint. Cannot open file at line. And these are being reflected. I mean, their state is tracked. So we definitely got a table selection to somebody, so there's something there. But the first time through, it's empty. Now maybe we've initialized things. All right. I think what may be going on is we initialized the database view model to empty. And then when it changes, we update it. I mean, we change this and that updates it. I don't know. All right. I mean, I'm not surprised, like id name instrument template. I'm not surprised this is not reflected in that because we have not done the work to modify the view model to take that into account. But I think there's a timing or something going on. All right, let's go back up here where that's initialized, if I can find it. Well, let's find database view model. Okay, in table controller, we created, see, it starts out empty here. So that seems right for the moment. But when you go into DatabaseView, I think what's funny is there's a selection at this point. If there's a database, there's a selection. On change, we update the database name. But what's the one up here? On up here, we fill in and we select one. Oh. Excuse me. So I think what's going on is it starts out empty. We select databases. We choose the current database that sets current, which should be the one we're looking at. I'm not seeing current here. Current. Okay, so you pick this, it updates current, and then if the model has tables, where's current coming in? I don't know. When current changes, change the database name. I don't know that that's sufficient. My guess is it's not. I mean, we're seeing weird behavior. I think it's not sufficient unless, let's find model, but does model, what does it do when it assigns that? I know there's a set on view model. Did set. Okay, it updates active tables, active joins, configuration, database message, but it does not update our selection, right? I mean, that has nothing to do with the database. Maybe this is back to Mudshark's point that maybe selection belongs in the database, or maybe there's an object that contains a selection and a database or something. I think this stuff, this active tables is refreshing off the database name, I'm guessing. Init empty. Is that what it did? It did. It does an empty init, so it defaults to everything empty. Well, I think this is a bigger deal than I thought it would be. All right. So I think in the sense of DatabaseView, well, I think changing this should also initialize this selection. I don't think there's a, certainly it does not. Okay, so let me note that because it's getting late. Create database with a, no, we still haven't done that. Okay, I guess what have we done? Well, besides flounder around on bindings, 2310, and this is, yeah, use the new approach. Well, we're the new approach. Okay, we created database selection to hold table selection. We made UIKit hold database selection and pass it down to DatabaseView, AllTablesView, and OneTableView. Is that accurate? Okay, AllTablesView, that's our new one. And it passes down the selection to OneTableView. Okay. But what we're seeing is the new configure screen starts with empty tables and columns, apparently because of how we initialize. Given that, I'm surprised it picks it up at all, really. Okay. I think that's just, okay, what do we do there? Took out a print. Okay. All right. Now, we don't want to lose anything. All right. I'm trying to figure out, is it the most important thing to debug this? I think maybe it is. The choice is debug this or go ahead and figure out how to get this view model updated with our selection. Which may not be impossible. But, okay. I mean, this is tracking. Okay. Yeah, I think our setup is not right. Then let's get this setup straightened out, because it feels like we are turning them on and off, so we're ready to write them to a database config memento if that helps. But they're not. The something's wrong on the ordering or the timing or something as far as initializing. I think it's lack of consistency between the two objects, really. And it's not it's kind of a view calling another thing, but maybe, I mean, it may indicate that this is not table control, or maybe this is not the place to create that database selection. Okay. I'm looking for that map. Yeah. Okay. So we configure it going in, but then once we get in, we generate the list of databases and select one. So that's not good. Okay. So where can this code live? I guess this is the code that needs to happen. Okay, I'm going to duplicate. So let's put a memo in there that we did that. Duplicate code between table collect controller, sorry. Blanked out. And database view to generate table selections. Okay. I guess the goal is to remove that duplicate code. All right, so DatabaseView. Okay, if you update the current, boy, it sure seems to me that if you update the database name, you really ought to update everything. Oh, but that's what it does behind the scenes. All right, where's DatabaseView model? You update the database name, it does update everything. All right, and then that's enough to do that. Okay, I'm going to put this in. Database selection, table selection is equals model dot database dot table metadata dot map. Okay, we really need to go through that too. But updating the database should update the selection. That seems legit. Now down here, database names equals current equals that. It's funny we're not updating model at this point. Like that. Oh, initial true. So that does come around and update this. All right. Let's see how this does. Our last throw for the day. Database isn't selected yet. The selection is empty. Well, if there is no table, if there is no database, it skips all this stuff. So the database, there is a database. This was on load on up here. It goes through, finds all the databases, selects the first one. That triggers this code up here because it's marked initial true. It copies the database name to current and then updates this. So I'm saying this should create our table stuff first time through. We'll see. Okay, yeah, there we go. All right, well, that gives us somewhere to pick up next time. So I think now we're making those two things be consistent to each other because we're updating this every time we update that. That should be enough to trigger it. And it should still manipulate. And then when I click away, it should give us the new table. Yeah, the old table. But it ignores which things you selected. It just gives the hard-coded table, but that's all right. Okay, so, whoa, what a pain to get here. But I think we have done it like all the way forward. Now we have to get the data back into the UIKit model so that it's showing the stuff we actually selected. So we will start that again next week. I'm going to be off tomorrow. So normally we do Thursday, but next week will be the next session, Monday. And thanks for joining today. Yeah, that's, I feel like I'm scraping up stuff. Like I haven't looked at it in years now, but that's all right. Okay. See you then. Have a good weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.